The small engineering pods from the USS Horizon approached the Altarian outpost, their thrusters firing in gentle bursts. Inside each pod, human engineers wore specialized containment suits, despite already being inside sealed environments. No one wanted to take any chances with cross-contamination. Commander Olivia Grant led the operation from the lead pod. Approaching docking port 7 as directed, she reported back to the Horizon. Altarian facility in worse condition than we thought. Visual confirmation of significant radiation damage to outer shields. Proceed with caution. Captain Miller's voice came through the communication system. Remember, no direct contact under any circumstances. Understood, Captain. The 3 engineering pods settled into position around the damaged sections of the outpost. Unlike human facilities built with metal and composite materials, the Altarian structures featured crystalline components that seemed to grow from the natural rock formations of the moon's surface. It was beautiful, but alien architecture, designed for a species that evolved in a gentler environment than Earth. Inside the outpost, Administrator Kelox and Engineer Velex watched nervously as the human pods attached to their external docking mechanisms. Despite a lifetime of avoiding the Deathworlders, they now had to trust them. The seals are holding, Velex confirmed, checking the atmospheric readings. No cross-contamination detected. The first communication came through from the human team. Altarian outpost, this is Commander Grant. We've established sealed connections. With your permission, we'll deploy our repair drones to assess the damage to your life support systems. Kelox exchanged glances with Velex before responding. Permission granted, Commander. Our engineer will transmit the technical specifications of our systems to assist your drones. Inside her pod, Commander Grant directed the deployment of the repair drones. These sophisticated machines, normally used for repairing hull breaches in zero-gravity environments, had been quickly modified for this unique mission. They moved through the specially designed airlocks into the Altarian facility, without allowing any atmosphere to mix between the two environments. The first images from the drones appeared on Grant's screens. Beginning internal assessment, she reported to both the Horizon and the Altarians. Initial readings show significant damage to atmospheric processing units. Radiation has affected several key components. Engineer Carl Bennett, operating from a second pod, analyzed the data coming from the drones. The core atmospheric processors use a crystalline technology we've never seen before, he noted with professional admiration. It's incredibly efficient, but the radiation has caused microscopic fractures in the main processing matrix. Dr. Patterson, monitoring from the Horizon, added his observations. I'm detecting unusual biological readings from the processor filters. There appears to be some kind of microscopic growth developing in the system. This caught the attention of the Altarian engineers. That's impossible, Velex said. Our systems are completely sterile. No biological contaminants should be present. Bennett directed his drones to take samples from the filters. As the data came in, his expression changed to one of surprise. This is interesting. The contaminant appears to be a simple organic compound, similar to a type of algae found in Earth's oceans. To us, it would be harmless, but it's consuming oxygen and producing trace elements that might be toxic to Altarian physiology. How could such an organism develop here? Kelox asked, his skin paling to a lighter blue with concern. Grant considered this. Is it possible it was dormant in your systems until the radiation created conditions for it to grow? Or perhaps it arrived on materials from another outpost? The Altarians had no immediate answer, but Dr. Patterson offered a theory from the Horizon. Solar radiation can sometimes accelerate mutation rates in simple organisms. What might have been harmless before could have transformed when the shields failed. Whatever the cause, the situation was clear. The organism was spreading through the life support filters, consuming oxygen and releasing compounds toxic to Altarians. Combined with the radiation damage, it explained the accelerated failure of their systems. Can you neutralize it? Kelox asked, hope and desperation evident in his voice. Bennett studied the readings carefully. Yes, I believe so. On Earth, we deal with similar organisms regularly. They can't survive certain environmental conditions. He began programming the repair drones. We'll need to adjust the temperature in the affected systems and introduce a compound that will eliminate the organism without damaging your technology. As the human team worked, the Altarians observed with a mixture of fear and fascination. These were the legendary Deathworlders, beings evolved on a planet with crushing gravity, deadly radiation, and aggressive predators. Yet they moved with careful precision, respecting Altarian protocols and demonstrating an unexpected gentleness. Hours passed as the repair drones worked methodically through the damaged systems. Bennett discovered that the radiation had created small cracks in the containment shells, allowing the microorganism to spread through systems that were normally isolated from each other. The humans had to treat each system individually. Administrator, Grant reported after nearly 20 hours of continuous work, "We've neutralized the biological contamination in the primary systems and repaired the worst of the radiation damage. Your life support should now function at 80% capacity, which should be sufficient until your relief vessels arrive." Kalox's skin brightened to a vibrant blue, a sign of relief and happiness among Altarians. "Commander Grant, we are deeply grateful. You have saved our outpost and our lives." Just as the human team was preparing to withdraw their drones, the outpost's sensors detected new vessels approaching. "The Altarian relief ships have arrived," announced Security Chief Vorel, who had remained skeptical of the humans throughout the operation. Kellox looked at the sensor readings and then back at the communication screen showing Commander Grant. "Your timing was fortunate, Commander. Our vessels have just arrived." Grant smiled. "I'm glad we could help, Administrator. We'll retrieve our drones and return to the horizon." As the human engineering pods detached from the outpost and began their return journey to the USS Horizon, the Altarian relief vessels moved into position around the facility. Their crews were shocked to discover human vessels already present, a situation no Altarian had ever expected to face. 2 days later, Captain Miller received a transmission from the Altarian High Council, the governing body that had directed their species to avoid contact with humans for generations. She sat in her ready room with Commander Grant and First Officer Taylor as the message played. An elderly Altarian with deep blue markings and formal attire appeared on the screen. "Captain Miller of Earth Vessel USS Horizon. I am High Counselor. Zexus, we have received a full report from Administrator Kelox regarding your assistance to our outpost. The Concordat has avoided contact with Earth because we feared what we did not understand. Perhaps it is time for that to change." Miller leaned forward. "High Counselor, we would welcome peaceful contact between our peoples. Sometimes the most unlikely circumstances create the best opportunities." "Indeed," Zexus replied. "Our preliminary assessment suggests that without your intervention, the outpost would have been lost before our vessels arrived. You responded to a call that was not meant for you, yet you offered assistance without demanding anything in return." The Altarian paused. "This challenges many of our preconceptions about humans. We're glad to have helped, High Counselor. That's what neighbors do." As the transmission ended, Miller turned to her officers. "Well, it seems we've made a good first impression. Not bad for Deathworlders," Grant said with a smile. 6 months later, the first official Altarian delegation visited Earth under carefully controlled conditions. Their report to the Concordat contained one significant recommendation. In matters of emergency response, search and rescue, and disaster management, the Deathworlders of Earth were to be considered the Concordat's most valuable new resource. What had once been seen as humanity's greatest flaws, their evolution on a high-gravity, radiation-soaked planet filled with predators, had created a species uniquely qualified to help others survive crisis situations. The mistaken SOS, a simple communication error made by a young Altarian named Thela, had opened the door to a new era of cooperation between worlds. As Captain Miller often said when recounting the story in later years, sometimes the wrong call reaches exactly the right people. The small blue ship drifted in the darkness of space. Inside, the tall, thin aliens with skin that glowed softly blue moved with growing worry. These beings, known as Zephyrins, had traveled far from their home. Now their ship's main engine had failed. leaving them stranded in an empty region of space. Captain Nira looked at the ship's broken engine room. Smoke filled the air and warning lights flashed across every screen. The damage was bad. Very bad. "Status report," Nira said to her crew. Engineer Ixil shook his head. "The main power core is damaged beyond repair. We need help." "Send a distress call on the Varaxian frequency," Nira ordered. "Our allies should have a patrol ship somewhere in this sector." Ixil moved to the communications panel. His four slender arms worked quickly across the controls. The Zephyrins had maintained peace with the powerful Varaxians for nearly 100 years. If anyone could help them now, it would be their allies. "Signal sent," Ixil reported. "Now we wait." What the Zephyrins didn't know was that their signal had gone off course. Instead of reaching their Varaxian friends, the message traveled toward a yellow star and a blue planet that most space-traveling species avoided. On the USS Horizon, an Earth ship patrolling the outer edges of the solar system, Lieutenant Samantha Nichols sat at her communications station. Her eyes were tired after 8 hours of monitoring routine transmissions. Nothing exciting ever happened this far out. The ship was just finishing its patrol of the Kuiper Belt before heading home. Then her screen lit up with an unusual pattern. Samantha sat up straight. This was not a human signal. "Captain," she called out, "I'm picking up something strange." Captain Eric Daniels walked over to her station. He was a tall man with gray hair at his temples, the result of 30 years in space. His face showed the calm confidence of someone who had seen almost everything. "What do you have, Lieutenant?" he asked. "A signal, sir. Not one of ours." She played the transmission. Strange sounds filled the bridge, rising and falling tones that pulsed in an odd pattern. "Definitely artificial," Samantha explained. "The pattern is too regular to be natural. And based on the signal strength, I'd estimate it's coming from about 3.7 light-years away, near Epsilon Eridani." Captain Daniels listened carefully. In all his years exploring space, he had never encountered proof of alien life. No human had. There had been theories, debates, and endless searching, but never confirmation. "Could it be a malfunction in one of our distant probes?" he asked. "No, sir. I've checked twice. This pattern doesn't match anything in our database." The captain thought for a moment. The United Earth Space Command had clear orders about this kind of situation. "Investigate, but be careful." "Alert command," he finally ordered. "Send them the recording, then set course for the signal's origin." "Yes, sir," Samantha replied, already sending the message to Earth, "and have Dr. Alan Martinez start working on decoding that signal." The captain added, "If someone's calling for help out there, we need to know what they're saying." The Horizon changed course. The large ship's engines burned bright as it turned toward the distant star. On the bridge, the crew worked with new energy. After years of routine patrols, they might be the first humans to make contact with alien life. In his lab, Dr. Alan Martinez analyzed the strange signal. As the ship's top scientist, he had the skills to tackle this puzzle. He ran the sound patterns through various computer programs, looking for any mathematical structure that might help decode the message. "It's definitely a language," he told Captain Daniels after working for hours. "Or at least a code. The patterns repeat in ways that suggest meaning, not random noise." "Can you decode it?" the captain asked. "Given enough time, maybe. The computer is finding some basic structures now, I think." Alan paused, studying a new result on his screen. "Captain, I believe this is a distress call." "A distress call? You're sure?" "Not completely, but certain patterns match what we'd use in our own emergency broadcasts. Repeated urgent signals followed by location data. Someone out there needs help." Captain Daniels nodded. "Then we'd better hurry." As the Horizon moved deeper into space, Security Chief Olivia Grant prepared her team. A former military officer, with dark hair always kept in a tight bun, Olivia believed in being ready for anything. "We don't know what we'll find out there," she told her security team. "Could be friendly, could be a trap. Everyone stays alert." "You really think we'll find aliens, Chief?" asked Ben Collins, a young security officer on his first deep space assignment. "I think we need to be prepared either way," Olivia replied. The captain's calling a meeting in an hour to discuss first contact protocols. Until then, check your gear and review the procedures. The meeting brought together the ship's senior staff. Captain Daniels stood at the head of the table in the conference room looking at the faces of his crew. Dr. Martinez has confirmed the signal appears to be a distress call, he began. We're still 3 days away from the source at our current speed. That gives us time to prepare. Chief Engineer Ryan Cooper spoke up. Captain, we could push the engines harder. Cut that time to 2 days. At what cost to our systems? The captain asked. Some strain, but nothing we can't handle, Ryan assured him. If someone's in trouble out there, every hour might count. Captain Daniels nodded. Make it happen, Chief. Dr. Diana Parker, the ship's medical officer, raised a concern next. If we're really meeting aliens, we need to think about biological risks. Their diseases, our diseases. Any contact could be dangerous for both sides. Good point, the captain agreed. Work with Dr. Wilson from biology. Prepare quarantine protocols and protective gear. The meeting continued as they discussed every aspect of their approach. No one at the table had been trained for first contact with alien life. This was beyond any procedure in their manuals. They were making history, and making up the rules as they went. Back on the damaged Zephyrin ship, the situation was growing worse. Life support systems were failing. The air was getting thin. Still no response from the Varaxians, Ixil reported to Captain Nira. But our sensors have detected a ship approaching. Finally, Nira said with relief. How long until they reach us? Ixil checked the readings again. His eyes widened with alarm. 2 of your days, but Captain, the energy signature is all wrong. It's not Varaxian. Then who is it? Nira asked. Ixil's hands moved quickly across the sensor controls. What he found made his blue skin turn pale. The ship is coming from the direction of the Forbidden Zone, he said, his voice shaking. From the system with the yellow star and the third planet. The one the Galactic Council quarantined centuries ago. No, Nira whispered. Not them. Not the Deathworlders. Every space-traveling species knew about that planet. A world with crushing gravity, deadly radiation, extreme weather, and countless predators. Any species that could evolve and survive in such conditions would be incredibly strong, aggressive, and dangerous. Our distress call, Ixil realized with horror. It must have reached them instead of the Varaxians. Can we send another signal? Tell them to stay away? Nira asked desperately. Our communications array is failing, Ixil replied. We barely have power for life support. Captain Nira looked out the viewport at the empty space around them. They had sent a call for help, hoping their allies would answer. Instead, they had caught the attention of the most feared species in the galaxy. The Deathworlders were coming. The USS Horizon moved through the darkness of space, its engines glowing blue against the black. On the bridge, Captain Eric Daniels watched the main screen as it showed their target. A strange ship unlike anything humans had built. Distance? He asked. 5,000 kilometers and closing, replied Navigation Officer Frank West. We'll be within visual range in 10 minutes. Captain Daniels turned to Lieutenant Samantha Nichols at the communication station. Any response to our greeting message? She shook her head. Nothing, sir. I've sent it on all frequencies. Either they can't hear us or they don't understand. Or they're afraid to answer, added Dr. Alan Martinez, who had joined them on the bridge. He had spent the last 2 days working on the alien signal. Based on the declining power readings from their ship, they may be in serious trouble, Captain Daniels nodded. Then we need to help them. Prepare a boarding team. In the equipment room, Chief Engineer Ryan Cooper checked his environmental suit one last time. The full-body suit would protect him from unknown threats on the alien ship. Next to him, Dr. Diana Parker and Dr. Kevin Wilson were doing the same checks. Nervous? Diana asked Kevin, who was adjusting his helmet. The young biologist nodded. A little. 6 months ago, I was studying deep-sea life forms on Earth. Now I'm about to meet actual aliens. Just remember your training, said Security Officer Ben Collins as he joined them. Unlike the others, Ben carried a small weapon on his belt. The Captain wants this to be friendly, but we need to be careful. Ryan looked at the team. The shuttle is ready, let's make history. Captain Daniels watched as the small shuttle left the horizon and moved toward the alien vessel. The strange ship was beautiful in an odd way. Its hull was a mix of what looked like crystal and flowing metal, with patterns that might have been writing covering parts of its surface. No signs of weapons, reported Security Chief Olivia Grant from her station, but they're scanning us heavily. Let them look, the captain replied. We have nothing to hide. The radio crackled as Ryan's voice came through. Shuttle to horizon. We're approaching their airlock. No response to our visual signals yet, but one of their doors appears to be opening. Proceed with caution, Captain Daniels ordered. Remember, we're here to help. The shuttle docked with the alien ship. The team stood at the airlock, hearts pounding. Ryan went first, stepping carefully into the strange corridor. The others followed. Inside, the lighting was soft blue. The ceiling was higher than on human ships, and the air, tested quickly by their suits' sensors, was breathable, but had more helium than Earth air. The gravity felt lighter, making their movements feel bouncy. About 0.6 Earth gravity, Kevin noted. Their homeworld must have less mass than ours. They moved deeper into the ship, following a corridor that curved gently. Then they saw them, the aliens. 3 tall, thin beings stood at the end of the hallway. Each had 4 arms and skin that seemed to shift between blue and green. Their large eyes watched the humans with what could only be described as fear. Hello, Ryan said, knowing they probably couldn't understand. He raised his empty hands to show he carried no weapons. We're here to help. Dr. Martinez had prepared a device that projected simple images, a damaged ship, then repairs being made. Ryan held it up, trying to communicate their intentions. The aliens spoke among themselves in high, musical voices. Then one stepped forward. You, not Varaxian, the alien said through what seemed to be a translation device. The words were broken but understandable. You, from Quarantine World. The humans looked at each other in surprise. Not only could the aliens speak to them, but they seemed to know about Earth. Diana Parker made a decision. She reached up and slowly removed her helmet. The others started to protest, but she shook her head. The air is safe, she said, and they need to see we trust them. With her face visible, she smiled at the aliens. We're here to help, she repeated Ryan's words, again showing empty hands. The tension in the alien posture seemed to lessen slightly. Ixil, the one with the translator said. Ship damaged. Need help. Ryan nodded. I'm Ryan. I'm an engineer. I can help fix your ship. Over the next few hours, the two groups began to work together. The fear never fully disappeared, but necessity pushed it aside. Ryan worked with Ixil in the engine room, trying to understand the alien technology. Diana and Kevin spoke with the other aliens, learning what they could about their biology and culture. Ben Collins stayed alert, watching everyone. But even he began to relax as it became clear the aliens, who called themselves Zephyrins, were peaceful. In the engine room, Ryan examined the damaged power core. This is amazing technology, he told Ixil. Your ship doesn't use traditional fuel like ours. Ixil explained through his translator that the ship was powered by a crystal called luminite that had cracked during a solar storm. Without it, they couldn't restart their engines. Ryan thought for a moment. We might have something similar. On Earth, we recently found a mineral in the asteroid belts around Neptune. Let me check with our ship. While the engineers worked on the power problem, Kevin Wilson gained access to some of the Zephyrin historical and cultural databases. What he found shocked him. He requested a private channel to Captain Daniels. Sir, according to their records, Earth is listed as a Class 5 Deathworld. A what? The captain asked. A planet so dangerous that its inhabitants are considered too hazardous to contact, Kevin explained. They're afraid of us, sir. Their records say we evolved on a high-gravity planet with dangerous radiation levels and many predators. To them, we're extremely strong, aggressive, and potentially unstable. Captain Daniels was silent for a moment. Are we in danger from them? No, sir. If anything, they're more afraid of us than we could ever be of them. Their homeworld has low gravity, stable climate, and almost no predators. They're physically fragile compared to humans, that's why they seem so cautious around us. Keep this information quiet for now, the captain ordered. We don't want to create panic. Focus on helping them repair their ship. Back on the alien vessel, Ryan had good news. We can help you, he told Ixil. The mineral we have isn't exactly the same as your luminite, but it's close enough that we might be able to modify it to work in your power core. Relief showed on Ixil's face. Thank you. Not expected help from your kind. Before Ryan could ask what he meant, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. The lights turned from blue to red. What's happening? Ryan asked. Ixil moved quickly to a control panel, all four of his arms working different controls. His skin paled to a light blue. Danger, he said, his voice shaking. Ships approaching. More of your people? Diana asked hopefully. Not Zephyrin, not Varaxian allies, Ixil said. His next words sent a chill through the human team. Krell raiders, they hunt damaged ships. They will destroy us all. Ben Collins immediately contacted the Horizon. Captain, we have a situation. Hostile vessels approaching the alien ship. On the Horizon's bridge, Captain Daniels watched as three wedge-shaped ships appeared on their sensors. They were moving fast, heading straight for the Zephyrin vessel. All hands, to battle stations, he ordered. Get our people back from the alien ship. But before the shuttle could return to pick up the boarding team, the first energy blast struck the Zephyrin vessel. The battle had begun. Ryan looked at his team, then at the frightened Zephyrins. Tell us what to do, he said to Ixil. How can we help defend your ship? Ixil seemed surprised by the offer. You would fight for us? We came to help, Ryan said simply. That hasn't changed. What neither the humans nor the Zephyrins knew was that this moment would change the future of both their species forever. The Deathworlders from Earth were about to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. The three Krell ships approached fast, their dark hulls covered with weapon ports that were already glowing with energy. The first shots hit the Zephyrin vessel, making it shake violently. On the USS Horizon, Captain Eric Daniels watched the attack, with growing anger. His people were still on that ship and he had no intention of abandoning them. Shields at maximum, he ordered. Prepare missile tubes 1 through 4. The crew moved with practiced speed, though the Horizon was built for exploration. Every Earth ship carried weapons. Humans had never forgotten how to fight. Sir, said Security Chief Olivia Grant, those alien vessels are much more advanced than ours. Their energy readings are off the charts. Captain Daniels nodded. But they're not expecting us to fight back. Lieutenant Nichols, open a channel to all ships. Samantha did as ordered. The captain stood straight, his voice firm. Attention, unknown vessels. This is Captain Eric Daniels of the United Earth Vessel Horizon. Cease your attack immediately or we will defend ourselves and our allies. There was no response. Instead, one of the Krell ships turned toward the Horizon and fired. The energy beam hit the Earth ship's shields, making the entire vessel shake. Missile. Tubes ready, reported Olivia. Fire, ordered the captain. 4 missiles launched from the Horizon, streaking through space toward the nearest Krell ship. The Krell, not expecting such primitive weapons, failed to stop them in time. All 4 missiles hit their target, causing explosions across the alien ship's hull. Direct hits, Olivia confirmed. Their shields are weakened, but they're still operational. Captain Daniels turned to Samantha. Any word from our team? Yes, sir. They're staying aboard the Zephyrin vessel to help with repairs. Ryan says they're close to restoring power. The captain frowned. He wanted his people back, but he understood their choice. Tell them to be careful. We'll keep these raiders busy as long as we can. Inside the Zephyrin ship, Ryan Cooper worked, frantically alongside Ixil. The engineer had never moved so fast in his life. Every few minutes, another blast would hit the ship, making the lights flicker. Connect the crystal here, Ixil instructed, pointing to a slot in the damaged power core. Ryan carefully placed the modified Neptune mineral into position. It was slightly different from the Zephyrin's luminite, but he had adjusted it to work with their technology. Power levels rising, Ixil announced, his forearms working across multiple control panels. But not enough for weapons, only enough for movement and basic systems. Meanwhile, in another part of the ship, Diana Parker and Kevin Wilson were helping injured Zephyrins. The aliens had thin skin that tore easily when they fell during the attacks. Diana used her medical kit to seal their wounds, while Kevin communicated with them using the translation device. "Your help unexpected," said one Zephyrin. "Thought Deathworlders were dangerous." "Deathworlders?" Diana asked. "From high-gravity worlds, strong, aggressive. Galaxy fears you." Before Diana could respond, the ship shook again. This time the lights went out completely before emergency lighting activated. Ben Collins rushed in. "We have a bigger problem. Krell boarding parties. They've cut through the hull in Section 4. The Krell raiders moved through the Zephyrin ship with confidence. They were tall, reptilian beings with natural armor and sharp claws. Like humans, they came from a high-gravity world, which made them stronger than the Zephyrins. For years they had preyed on damaged ships, facing little resistance. Today would be different. Ben Collins set up a defensive position at a junction of corridors. He had only one weapon, a standard-issue laser pistol, but he knew how to use it. When the first Krell turned the corner, Ben fired. The shot hit the raider in the shoulder, making it step back in surprise. "They're armed." The Krell shouted to its companions. More raiders appeared, firing their own weapons. Ben ducked behind a wall section as energy blasts hit around him. "Fall back to the engine room," he called to the Zephyrins behind him. "I'll hold them off." But he wasn't alone for long. Diana Parker appeared beside him, carrying a metal case from her medical kit. "I have an idea," she said. "Cover me." Ben looked at her like she was crazy. "What are you doing?" "Trust me. I grew up with 3 older brothers. I know how to fight. Dirty." While Ben fired at the Krell to keep them back, Diana opened her medical kit and quickly mixed several chemicals. She placed the mixture in a small canister. "When I say now, stop firing and close your eyes," she instructed. Ben nodded. A moment later, Diana shouted, "Now!" and threw the canister toward the Krell. It exploded in a blinding flash of light and released a cloud of gas. The Krell cried out in pain as the gas burned their eyes and lungs. Diana had created a makeshift stun grenade using medical supplies. "Come on!" She pulled Ben to his feet. "That won't stop them for long." On the bridge of the horizon, Captain Daniels was fighting his own battle. The Earth ship had managed to damage one Krell vessel, but the other 2 were still attacking. "Missile tubes 5 through 8 ready to fire," reported Olivia. "Target the ship on our left flank. Fire." 4 more missiles launched from the horizon. This time, the Krell were ready. Energy beams shot from their ships, destroying 2 of the missiles. But the other 2 got through, again hitting their target. "Sir," called Samantha from her station, "I'm detecting coded transmissions between the Krell ships. I think they're calling for reinforcements." Captain Daniels made a quick decision. "Divert power to the engines. Position us between the raiders and the Zephyrin ship." The horizon moved forward, its hull now directly in the line of fire. The next blast from the Krell hit the Earth ship hard. "Shields down to 30%, Olivia reported. "One more hit like that and they're gone." "Hold. Position," the captain ordered. He was gambling everything on his people getting the alien ship working again. In the Zephyrin engine room, Ryan felt the power core come to life. The lights grew brighter, and control panels began to function again. "It's working," he shouted. Ixil moved quickly to the main controls. "Ship systems returning, we can move now." Just then, Diana and Ben burst into the engine room, followed by several frightened Zephyrins. "Krell boarding parties," Ben explained, breathing hard. "At least 10 of them. They'll be here soon." Ryan looked at the controls, then at his friends. "If we can get the ship moving, maybe we can dock with the horizon and escape together." Ixil shook his head. "Krell ships will follow. Too many." Kevin Wilson, who had been quiet until now, suddenly spoke up. "What about the Varaxians? Your allies? Could we still contact them? Our communication system better than yours, Ixil admitted. But need correct frequency for Varaxians. Kevin turned to Ryan. If we can send a message on the right frequency, maybe their actual allies will respond. Ryan nodded. Let's try it. Diana, Ben, block that door. Buy us some time. While Diana and Ben used anything they could find to create a barricade, Ryan and Kevin worked with Ixil to set up a new distress call, this one correctly targeted at Varaxian frequencies. The message sent just as the first Krell raiders reached the barricaded door and began cutting through. Now what? Diana asked. Now we fight, Ben said grimly, raising his weapon. But before the Krell could break through, something unexpected happened. The ship's sensors lit up, showing a massive energy signature appearing nearby. What is that? Ryan asked. Ixil looked at the readings, his skin turning bright blue with excitement. Varaxian warship! They heard our call. Outside, a massive vessel appeared, seemingly out of nowhere. It had been hiding with some kind of cloaking technology. The ship was similar in design to the Zephyrin vessel, but much larger and clearly built for battle. The Krell raiders, recognizing the new arrival, immediately began to retreat. One escaped. Another was disabled by the Horizon's final missile. The third found itself caught in a beam from the Varaxian warship that held it in place. As the battle ended, Captain Daniels received a transmission, but it wasn't from the Zephyrins or the Varaxians. Attention, human vessel, came a new voice, speaking perfect English. This is Admiral Jax of the Galactic Council Oversight Committee. Your actions today have been witnessed and recorded. The quarantine of Earth has been officially breached. Prepare to receive representatives. The captain looked at his bridge crew. Whatever happened next would change humanity's future forever.